Hey, so I am recording this introduction after I've recorded the oracle reading that I did. This is a supplemental oracle reading that I did on the case of Fiona Pender. And in the reading that I have just wrapped up, explored where clues may be, where she may be at. And one thing that came up strongly intuitively for me is that law enforcement will have to look at this with new eyes, fresh eyes, starting from scratch, starting the investigation anew, because there will be important clues found at point zero. Point zero is where she was last seen. So that came up strongly for me. So watch the video, you'll see what I'm talking about, and perhaps maybe you may get some intuitive hits as well as to what may have happened, and also to see why I have started to have this sense of what may have happened to her, why I get strongly that new energy, new eyes, new investigators need to take a look at this starting from scratch. All right, now we will go ahead and take a look at this supplemental reading for Fiona Pender. Hey everyone, I'm Kim with Abundant Life Tarot, and this is for Mystery Mystic Monday. We are continuing our look at the Fiona Pender disappearance case. She was last seen August 23rd, 1996, and she's from Ireland. She was 7 months pregnant at the time of her disappearance, and yeah, it's really been heavy on her family. Her family has really carried the weight of the pain and grief of her disappearance since 1996. So I am doing this knowing that and wanting to be respectful of that. So we have done readings already. We have done an oracle reading, just a snapshot of what may have happened to her on the day of her disappearance. So I did that with the Mildred Payne Secret Pocket Oracle. Check it out so you can get a snapshot of what happened to her. And then we deep dived on a live stream for Mystery Mystic Monday on the channel. We deep dived into the people who are considered maybe persons of interest, or who was suspected of possibly having something to do with her disappearance. So we have looked at her case, I would say extensively, for Mystery Mystic Mondays. I have to apologize for the background noises. It sometimes just cannot be helped in this house. So anyways, I wanted to do the clues and where could she possibly be, or where could what have possibly happened to her happen. And I wanted to do an oracle reading. I did do an oracle reading. I had shuffled the cards had jumped, I recorded it, and then the audio was messed up when I listened back to it, so I couldn't share that video with you. So I already have the cards here. I took a picture of them, thankfully, before I moved everything about, and thankfully I listened to the audio and didn't rely on the audio and just uploaded it, or just took for granted that the audio was perfect. All right, so these cards have already shuffled, these cards have already jumped. So let's get to it. We are looking at clues and where she may be at, or etc., what I want to say is this. To me, it was very clear that something devastating happened to her, that she is no longer, with the land of the living, that she has crossed over and not and at the hands of someone else. That comes up very strongly, intuitively for me. And when I look at the readings that I've done so far surrounding her case, that is very prevalent. Now it's just a question of who, and for some people they feel like they strongly know who, and then also maybe where. Okay, so I had to say all of that to give you the background on what's coming up in the cards today. So I used first my Ancestral Healing Oracle, and the two cards that jumped from this deck were Till Death Do Us Part and Guilt. Okay. What's interesting about the Till Death Do Us Part card, if you look carefully, you will see that there is a couple, a newly wedded couple, and that the wife or bride's gown is all that we see. We only see a portion of her white wedding gown. She's not in the frame, but the groom is in the frame. And then it's sitting next to the guilt card. So I found that interesting, okay? I find that very interesting. So with the readings that we did before, we kind of did like this. We kind of had an aerial view, and then we went down a little bit deeper and a little bit deeper, and now we're here. So then the next cards that I got were Treehouse and Lodging and Cabin. And then finally I got Crime Scene from the Trace Evidence Telling card. So this one came from my Sacred Spaces, the Cabin and Lodging card. The Treehouse card came from One with the Earth. And then Crime Scene. What I strongly sense here is that something happened to her in sheltered place. It could be lodging, a home, an apartment, a flat. The motel card is interesting because at first I was like, well, maybe she met up with someone. Maybe she met up and they met up at a motel, but that didn't resonate with me and my intuition. I'm sensing what these three cards are saying is that, where there may have been a slight walk up, you have to kind of go up to where the shelter is, but it's nevertheless shelter. All the cards give me a woodsy area, like maybe this area where she ultimately perished and also where she disappeared is very lush and green, as well as woodsy. It may be known as a tourist spot for that purpose, hence the lodging card. This could mean, though, that there's clues that someone may have done something and then went off to a very close by motel to discard of evidence. Crime Scene struck me as well. Crime Scene is speaking to when she dealt with what she dealt with on the day of her disappearance. It happened somewhere very nearby her residence, nearby her shelter, very nearby. Someone who's surrounding this situation bears guilt. This person bore guilt before the incident occurred, before the day of the disappearance. This person had guilt almost immediately after what happened to Fiona, and then thereafter, and still carries guilt today. It's someone who had a promise of commitment to her. Now, could that be her boyfriend? Possibly. Could it be someone else unknown to us, but maybe known to the family? Maybe. I don't know. But that was interesting to me. And the Crime Scene card is speaking to me that the evidence is in a home. It's around and in home. Buried. She may be buried somewhere on the grounds or nearby, and clues as far as like evidence of the struggle, because there was a struggle. She did not want to go down without a fight. She did not go down without a fight. And there was evidence that may have had to go somewhere else. But nevertheless, everything feels very close by. There was speculation that she may have been buried in the mountains, like nearby mountains of where she was located. But then when they went to go excavate and dig up and see if they could find any evidence of her being there, there was no evidence. And I'm sensing that that's because the crime scene is very close to where she resided, if not where she resided. Okay, so that's what I'm picking up on. So finally, I'm just going to pull quickly from the Dark Mirror Oracle for this video. Is there anything that you could say about who may be connected? Who may be connected to this? Based on these cards. Let's see. Reshuffle. I want to be very clear to the question. Who may be responsible? Who may be responsible based on all of this that has come up? Hiding your true self. The temple of my body. Hiding my true self. Someone who portrayed a certain image of being one way, of being a provider, of being a caregiver, of being someone who is, seen as kind or giving or solid or safe, is really hiding their true self. This person who is associated with this thing. And I tend to believe the stories of the family knows who the person is that did this, and that there's so much guilt surrounding that justice not happening in this case, because it's like known. I feel like it's known to people in the community, it's known to the family, and it's known to the person who's dead. This person's still alive and well. It's known to this person who's caused this to Fiona. There's a lot of guilt. The temple of my body. Someone who felt close enough to violate her temple, who got enraged enough to do such a thing, it was like, it says, the temple of my body. For her, she was wanting to protect herself, protect her mind, body, and spirit in that moment of when she fought, and she fought and she fought. Look at the claws in their fingernails here. She fought and she fought and she fought. The temple of my body. But in the end, it wasn't enough to deal with the person who was hiding their true self. In the end, their duplicity overrode the whole relationship, overrode her boundaries, everything that Fiona was trying to protect. So this is someone close to her, someone known to her, someone known to her family, someone close, someone who knew where she lived, someone who could be a part of where she lived. The crime scene card affirms that as well. So, and this gives me pause, because this could speak to a very much bonded and committed relationship that has something to do with her disappearance. All right, guys, let me know what you think in the comments section below. And I am sending up prayers for information and justice, especially justice for Fiona and her baby. All right. Take good care of yourselves. I'll see you all in the next video. Bye.